Well, good morning. You know, I can't resist saying a few things about some of the stuff I was listening to or reading. You know, that internet's quite a nice thing. It's a lot quicker than the newspapers. Well, there's sure a lot of horse bucking, a lot of people spread. I was listening to that feller back there, that one guy, so important, got something to do with Big Fancy Ketchup, I think, talking about the American farmers causing all this greenhouse gases. And there's something in the article there about take 7 gallons or something of diesel to work an acre, but if you plant an acre of corn, whatever the greenhouse gases that gallon of diesel gives off, that corn that grows on that acre will chew up about intake and get rid of 15-20 times that much greenhouse gases. Now, I don't know about all this stuff, and I really don't care, because like I told you before, I'm a religious man, so I got to fall back on what my God's going to do with all this stuff that everybody's doing down here. But the way they make people suffer, the only thing I've seen about this whole greenhouse gas deal, let's get rid of fossil fuels and everything, is putting a burden and causing problems for the masses that aren't a part of the elite, that don't have the wealth and that to be able to move around and participate in all these things, go to these fancy meetings in Switzerland, go back and sit in the UN and stop their it's like a honeydew wagon. You know what a honeydew wagon is? Well, that's what they used to put manure in liquid form. There's a manure spreader too. I guess that'd work. That'd be drier stuff. But I just listening to what they say, it gets so far out. Now this thing about that current over there in the Atlantic Ocean, why, it's slowing down. It's been pushing all this hot stuff out of the equator up into the northern, up into the Arctic, and then it brings back cool water deep underneath all this warm stuff. You know, that's because the heat rises like a water heater. Well, you know, if that hot stuff is going north to the Arctic, it's the hot stuff going north that's melting the ice. It's not the atmosphere. But anyway, now, I've read and I've listened to a couple of scientists, more than that, some of these things, well, when that quits moving that hot water up to the Arctic, the ice, the cold from the ice, is going to start melting more instead of, and it's going to be like using a heat pump. You know, these heat pumps everybody loves, it runs off that electricity that comes out of one of them big old windmills. Well, you put the heat pump so that the hot air blows in the house, you heat the house. Well, in the summertime, you flip the switch, then the heat pump blows the hot air outside and brings the cool air inside. The evaporator comes inside, turns the blows cold air in the room. Now that cools the house down. Now that might be the old Earth. You know, Mother Earth out here, we don't know what she's doing. Most of them scientists they're pretty good guessers, but I think they make more like to hear themselves talk to get things right. A lot of them. But maybe that Mother Earth is, maybe she got her finger on the switch and she's switching that heat pump switch from heat. So maybe in 3 years, instead of being 112, 115 in Phoenix, why, it might be 75 in Phoenix when it ought to be 100. Because she might be turning her own switch over. I'd like to have some of the guys explain to me exactly why everything is causing the heat. It don't make no difference to me. See, and the only thing I can see is all this green stuff, building all them ugly eyesore wind farms, destroying all that environmental stuff out there, planting them things in the ocean, putting all them solar farms out on this beautiful desert where nothing grows. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff out there. You'd be amazed, and they're destroying it. But anyway, it might be all full of hooey. The Earth might be protecting herself. Now, there's other scientists talking about the sun, the way it's acting, could be setting up to have a micronova. You know, nova is when one of them stars explodes. Well, they say that this sun actually, over the long past years, has had micronovas reoccur now and then. Every 12,000 years about, they figure. And the last one was about 12,000 years ago, so they figure it might be coming up to another micronova. Well, that closes in, and it's supposed to get, and the sun is supposed to get dark, or the star, get darker, 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 and then it's like throwing flour on a fire. Whoosh! Goes boom! And it explodes. And it's going to blow all that crap all over us. They say that's when the extinctions of species and stuff actually happen. Well, you know, their story sounds just as logical. In fact, it sounds more logical than some of these people that's been talking about that greenhouse gases and stuff, because, you know, that ozone layer up there ebbs and flows according to different effects from the universe, from the sun, from all these different things that happen. So I tunnel vision that them politicians and some of them scientists and that's got. I don't know whether they're right. There's kind of a chicken little bit to all this stuff. So, well, why don't you go out and read, study, and think, instead of paying attention and think, oh boy, they're such magnificent people and they care so much about us poor folk. All they want is to make you slaves. That's a foregone conclusion. All them big, fancy, rich guys, they want to have artificial intelligence take over all the jobs so they can just have you come around and bow and, oh, master, oh, you glorious creature, to them in their big fancy mansions and stuff. Well, one of my heroes, one of my big heroes, is that old guy named Patrick Henry. And upon one time he said something like to the effect, I care not what other men might do, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Don't matter to me which. Dead under my God would be better than a slave under those jerks. Have a good day. See you again.